So where does this victory against Usman positions Leon Edwards in the welterweight division overall? And most importantly, where does this place the likes of Khamzat Chimaev and Colby Covington into the picture, basically?
That's an interesting one. It really is. It really is.
Mm,
There will be a rematch. That's a
a
given.
rematch.
There'll be the
Mm,
trilogy, and the difference maker is time makes the big difference. So
yeah,
whether we've seen obviously Kamzat is fighting Diaz soon in a few weeks, maybe over a
yeah,
month.
yeah. That's going to be a good fight.
It's going to be an amazing fight. Well,
Hmm.
is it going to be an amazing fight? That's
Oh, we keep, who knows? Yeah.
are we going to see someone stand up to Kamzat like Gilbert Burns did, not believe in the
Mm,
hype, show him no respect whatsoever, and go balls to the wall to create an absolute war because that's how you're going to beat him. Let's be honest.
hmm. Yeah,
With Diaz,
completely.
we usually do see that. We usually do. He stands up to most people and he fights back and gets the better of him, whilst they get the better of him most of the time as well. Let's be honest.
Completely.
But he does fight back and he does create this war like atmosphere in the octagon. And what will be interesting is whether he does bring that against Kamzat because, as you're saying, he's getting on. He's been in these wars. His scar tissue is ridiculous. So
Ridiculous, man. Honestly, yeah.
all Kamzat needs to do is land one shot really to those
Mm,
areas on his feet, and he's cut straight away. Whether Diaz cares is a different story because he usually doesn't. He's a madman. But
yeah.
all Kamzat needs to do is cut him. Make his eye swell up. Got to get his nose, stop his breathing, and then take him down, maul him, and the fight's over. That's what
Yeah.
that's how I see that going. To be honest, I do expect
Mm,
him to cut him quite heavily. Yeah, go pressure, start the fight very pressure orientated. Go straight in for the kill as quick as possible because that's what he usually does. He's
true.
a crazy motherfucker. He usually goes straight out there looking for the kill. Whether
Yeah,
he
yeah,
does that
completely.
Whether he does that, I'm not too sure. Whether he, stands back and feels Diaz out because Diaz is a sharp boxer. We
Hmm.
saw that in the last minute against Edwards.
Edwards, yeah. I mean, he clipped him, bro. Just bang! Caught
Exactly.
him and he wobbled him
And
straight.
everything
So, yeah.
and pointed.
Nate, yeah, he pointed at him. Yeah, Nate's certainly not someone to look down on. I mean, he's a veteran. He's been around for a long time. He was the Ultimate Fighter season 5 winner all the way back in 2007. So he's been around, and it seems like he's old and all of that. And in the last 5 years, he hasn't really had much fights in the UFC, to be honest. So, going into this fight certainly just naturally makes sense that Khamzat Chimaev is going to be the favorite, definitely. But what I'm saying is, Nate is a highly decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Now, I'm not
Oh
sure if
yeah.
that's going to come into effect in the fight because Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling is just absolutely sensational. But who knows what Nate could do? He could
Well,
rock him. He could whip his ass. Who knows? I don't know. You know what I mean?
that it's interesting you're saying that because it's not just the fact that he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt fighter. It's the way he uses it as well. He doesn't look for the takedowns. He doesn't look
Mm,
to take them down and then attempt the submission.
submit them.
He
Yeah.
attempts them off his back, which is what he's probably going to be on for the vast majority of this fight, which is very
Yeah.
interesting because he's a lot like Tony Ferguson. When you get him on his back, he's equally as dangerous as when you get him on the feet. On his stomach, he's just dangerous anywhere. He can throw anything out. He can land that guillotine. He can try those arm bars, and he can just make it dirty off his back, which is interesting.
Mm.
Kamzat's probably never seen that, but whether Kamzat just puts his head down, drives it into his chest, and just continues mauling him is another story because that's what we've seen throughout his UFC career so far. Apart from that fight against Burns, but it's
I
interesting to
completely
think.
agree, to be honest. Yeah, go on.
It's interesting to think where Gilbert Burns lies in all this as well. He
Completely, yeah,
held
Gilbert.
himself in good stead against Kamzat. Whether he needs another fight before fighting, a Kamzat, an Edwards, and an Usman again is another story. Whether he just waits it out and see who the victor is in that, in the Kamzat Diaz fight, and whether they need to go again because of Usman and Edwards having a rematch. That could be interesting. Gilbert Burns could end up fighting the winner of Kamzat and Diaz again
Hmm.
because right now I genuinely can't see who else he could actually fight.
Yeah.